Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube page, Facebook page, and X page as well. My name is Ryan McGinley. Tonight, I'm delighted as always to be joined by Tony Haggerty. Tony, how are you doing this evening?
Very well, sir. Very well. Just the hits keep on coming. We never stop, as a famous Celtic manager once said.
That's it, absolutely. Former Celtic manager.
Yeah,
Got to put that in there. Got to keep that
former.
big
Yeah,
block capitals. Yep, there's only one manager at Celtic at the moment, and that is Brendan Rodgers, and that's who we'll be speaking about today. Before we get into today's video, if you want to support us just a little bit more, you can join our YouTube members channel, £2.99 a month, receive early video access, priority comments, and exclusive members chat function. Now, Brendan Rodgers and Nicholas Kuhn were talking to the media today, previewing the Motherwell game at Fir Park, which takes place on Sunday at 3 p.m. Looking forward to that fixture. Looking forward to us both going to that, Tony, at Fir
yeah.
Park in North Lanarkshire. It's the pride of North Lanarkshire versus the darlings of European football at the moment, or one of them anyway, with that draw that they got in Atalanta. What stood out to you today in this press conference today, Tony? Was it the injury updates, the good injury updates about Cameron Carter-Vickers and Greg Taylor both being back in training? Was it about Arne Engels and Brendan Rodgers defending his man, as I've said in the tagline, or was it anything else that he talked about?
I have to say, I quite liked all these Champions League and the levels stuff, and also his defence of Arne Engels. You mentioned it there, and I kind of alluded to that on an article at 10:30 that will be coming out tonight. You know, Celtic might be in the pride of Europe midweek, but they've still got to beat the pride of North Lanarkshire on Sunday. They're on the premises, they say they've always got to win matches. So he was speaking about that. So I thought it was very good today, and I was encouraged by the injury updates. So I think we'll see Cameron Carter-Vickers, Greg Taylor back in the team before too long, but I don't think they'll make it on Sunday.
He says that they might play some part in the game. He says we've got Cameron Carter-Vickers back training with the squad, which is good news. Greg Taylor as well. So we've got one more day to go in and we'll see how they are, but they hopefully will be involved in the game. Maybe that's more Cameron Carter-Vickers and Greg Taylor because he's just coming back, Taylor. Although there was a picture going about today seeing that showed Cameron Carter-Vickers and Greg Taylor training in the same sort of warm-up. So that would suggest to you that both players are fit and ready to go for the game against Motherwell. That being said, though, I would feel really, I think the likes of Austin Trusty and Alex Bailly would feel extremely hard done by if they were to get moved, or Liam Scales for that matter as well. You can't signpost one player as being the designated player to leave when it could be the other one as well. But for Alex Bailly, it'd be a swap for swap, a like for like swap at left back. So he was talking about how it gives the team options, which is what you want as a coach. But he thinks the team defensively was outstanding the other night. To have those two guys, though, who are very important players for us, will be good. It's good news for Celtic, isn't it?
That's brilliant news for Celtic. I think, if you say of the two of them, I think he wants Cameron Carter-Vickers back pronto, doesn't he? More than anything. I think lots of supporters do as well. So if he does want Cameron Carter-Vickers to play in this game, then it's going to be Trusty that misses out, isn't it? Regardless of these heroics in midweek. So I think if Cameron Carter-Vickers plays, he'll come in for Trusty, because he just loves Liam Scales, doesn't he? So, and Liam Scales was very good the other night as well. But the great thing about Trusty is you now know he can be trusted to play. Just trying to make that clear there. And he has that in him. And that's Trusty's template now, isn't it? That whenever he comes into the team, that's the way he plays. And I think everybody breathed a sigh of relief that, he won everything that was flung into the box, him and Liam Scales. So I think, as you say there, that healthy competition in that back line is going to be great when everybody is fit and raring to go, and it's a win-win for Celtic.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers really did speak in detail today, and I think that was shown by the fact that the video was 21 minutes long, or around about 21, 22 minutes long. That's always good. It means you've got more to work with, more to transcribe as well, which is certainly, keeps you on your toes. But at the same time, it's good. It's good to have that detail about what he's speaking about. Do you want to talk about the Arne Engels comments that he made today about about the record signing. Now, he has got a bit of flack recently. I think some of it's been deserved. Some of it's maybe been a slight bit over the top. I think there's a balance between the two that must be met with the criticism that's going on the 21-year-old's shoulders and on his head. But he was quick to defend his man today. I'm just going to bring the
Yeah, read them out and we'll discuss them.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to read the whole quote. So the question, I think it was actually Joe that asked it, Joe of the Celtic Way in the Herald said, social media is perhaps not the best place going for reactions sometimes, but after the game there was a bit of a lukewarm response or reaction at Arne Engels in just these last couple of performances. Does it surprise you that folk are still adjusting to him settling in and they've perhaps come to conclusions? Brendan Rodgers responded saying, "It doesn't surprise me, no, it doesn't, it really doesn't, but it doesn't really matter. I think everyone, there are critics in the game and people have an opinion. You have to respect that. For me, we brought a young player in who's nowhere near the finished article. Sometimes there's pressure around him, and that might feel like you're buying someone who's the finished article. He's not. He's came here as a 20-year-old player who's got great potential, and it's my job here, and I'm with the staff to develop that." He's coming from, I said to him, "You're coming from playing one game a week with us. Well, that's a holiday in my book, to come and play in a big club with big pressure and big expectations, and you'll feel it. And sometimes you'll play and you'll be playing a lot of games, and sometimes you'll come out to recover. So it's all natural. I understand that people made a judgment and an opinion, but I'm so happy he chose to come here. He's shown more than enough in this short period of time that he's going to be a fantastic player for us." I hope those comments, Tony, come to Arne Engels, and I hope he reads them and hears the reassuring nature that Brendan Rodgers is taking towards his record signing. That is exactly the way to play it.
I don't think. I think personally speaking, I just wanted him to produce more in terms of his output the other night. I know you're going to hit me with the stats bomb report and say he did this, this, and this, but my eye test told me that Arne Engels could have been better, right? And I think lots of Celtic supporters. So that was my criticism of him per se. But I did couch that with he's a young boy, he's still learning how to play, and at a club that Celtic, the demands are so high, and he's still learning to play at that level as well. And I ended it with, we've seen enough of him from his earliest promising start to know that he's got it in his locker. He'll get there, was my final 3 words, which said there's a player there and he'll get there. So, so Brendan Rodgers is probably, not too much to myself, but lots of maybe knee-jerk stuff on social media saying he's been rotten, he's been this and that and the next thing. But he's not rotten. I never said he was rotten. I think you said on Saturday as well, in the Aberdeen game when Aberdeen made it 2-2, or came into it in that period and made it 2-2, you wanted to see more of him as well. He kind of, I wouldn't say he went into hiding or disappeared, but, there was a chunk of that game where, he wasn't what you'd hoped for. So I think that's more as I say, I'm fond of saying it's observations more than criticisms. And I think the manager has dealt with it right today, and I'm pleased that he's decided to do that. And we know Arne Engels is a good footballer, and I'm not even talking about the price tag. I don't care about the price tag. A large price tag doesn't necessarily qualify as being a quality football player. Arne Engels doesn't put the price tag on his head or his shoulders. So, but he came in and he played really, really well against Slovan Bratislava, and everybody was quick to kind of pin him as the best midfielder in the country. I did couch that by saying, just watch what you're saying, that too early for that, not enough sample size. So we're getting towards a decent sample size now. Your eyes will tell you one thing, and then tools like StatsBomb, which you use a lot and others use a lot, will tell you something completely different. I know I watched with Arne Engels on Wednesday night, and I'm still confident and comfortable by saying that I still think he needs to produce more and up his game. And that's my observation. It's not a criticism of him, because I know he's a young player, and I more or less said the same thing in my instant analysis that Brendan Rodgers was saying there. So, and I have no qualms about him not being a wonderful footballer for Celtic in the future, now and in the future, and for as long as he's here.
from one player that dropped maybe a lacklustre performance to a player that was absolutely immense, as Brendan Rodgers called him on Wednesday, that of Austin Trusty, who may very well find himself out the team thanks to Cameron Carter-Vickers' return. You never know, might even be Liam Scales that drops
when
out the team.
managers use words like that, you know there's the butt clause coming, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to read out what Brendan Rodgers said quickly about Austin Trusty's performance. I thought he was immense in the game. I thought him and Scales both were, but Scales I've seen now for a long time. One of his great superpowers is defending the box. He's great at defending, and when it comes in, he puts his head on it. For Austin, yeah, big admiration, especially since he's come in. He's a player that's been playing on the wrong side virtually all his time here, but he's just got on with it and coped with it. But then you see one of the big reasons why we did bring him in is his ability to leap and defend in the box. He's really powerful with his head, but also his speed. There were a couple of recovery runs in behind. He's super quick and got there on a couple of occasions. So I was so pleased for him, because sometimes you need a big performance like that at the big clubs to really show your value. But yeah, he settled in really well, and I'm really pleased for him. Seems like a guy that's happy with his signing, although there was a bit of doubt cast over his first couple of performances. Brendan Rodgers seems very comfortable with the fact that Trusty's here for the long haul.
It's a breakout game, isn't it? I say that's the bar being set. He has to understand and bring
that
to the table every week now. That's it. He set a standard and an agenda there in terms of his performance, and he was very good, and he has been playing on the wrong side. And Trusty himself said in these moments it's sink or swim. Thankfully, he chose to swim. And he said it was gonna, because they sunk in Dortmund, didn't they? So there's only one way up when that happened. Only one way to go, and that's up when that happens. So I think he realised the challenge of putting the wrongs of Dortmund right, and he certainly did that against quality. Austin Trusty won't play against a better front two this all season, in my opinion. He won't. If he does name them, people say, the Dortmund front two, but Atalanta's front two are lethal, and Celtic kept them out with the defence that contained Austin Trusty and Liam Scales.
I don't envy you having to hear this, but RB Leipzig have got a really good front two in Luis Openda and Benjamin Sesko, two players that were at the Euros last summer. So it's going to be there's a challenge. There's a challenge for Trusty to go and better
it. Nobody for me will be better than Lookman and the current top goal scorer in Serie A. That's the way Austin Trusty has to look at it. If he can shut them out, he can shut MD out. That's what I'm saying. These other two guys from RB Leipzig that you've just named may well be the real deal, but they're certainly not shown it in the Champions League yet, have they? Because they're sitting below Celtic in the table. So what, with no points? They've got no points.
Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah.
So that tells me there's something rotten in the state of Denmark with RB Leipzig. That's not to say that they'll hit form when they come to Celtic Park, because that's a tough game that Celtic have got. I'm just sort of saying in terms of tests, Trusty failed the first edition against Dortmund, but he passed with flying colours against Atalanta.
In the callback.
To me, right? So that's the beauty and nature of football, isn't it? That you can have those two comparing, contrasting performances. And that was my first question to him in the mix zone, because he faced us after the Dortmund game and tried to tell us at that time, we'll learn from this, which seems a kind of stock answer. And then I did say to him, I said, you told us you would learn from this. Compare and contrast your feeling that Tuesday night to this Wednesday night. And I did say to him, I said, because you will not play, arguably, against two better strikers this season. And he was like, yeah, I know. And he was the one, and Callum McGregor said they were giants, they were massive. So he had to get his head onto everything. But he was saying he loved that. He said, and that's, and I can't remember who said it, but somebody said it. But it doesn't matter who said it. I'm going to repeat it. That's Austin Trusty's kind of way of defending, isn't it? He did a lot of defending like that for Sheffield United in the Premiership. Getting his head on stuff. It's guys that are in and around him, quick, speedy merchants, that he struggled with in Germany.
Mhm.
But if you're going to put high balls in, as Brendan Rodgers said, he's going to leap for them. And that kind of football's meat and drink to him, isn't it? And now he's shown that he's quick too. So Brendan's already said, you're quick. Start using that as well, that your pace can get you, in terms of recovering positions. Because we know you can get your head onto things because you've just shown a great leap in the spring for every ball that came into your box on Wednesday night, which he did. Every time I looked up and there was a ball going into the box, Austin Trusty was getting his head on it. I think he missed one or two headers. Somebody said at one point, one in the first half especially, but most other times, I think he missed the one that was smashed across the bar, off the bar by Paslic, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's a decent ratio, Ryan, of winning headers and clearing danger.
It certainly is.
The manager, I don't know. I think the manager's buttering him up for right. You were great, and as much as you were an immense fella, I'm bringing this guy back because I want to see how he does. This is the
That
ideal
makes
game.
me think that he might go with the opposite and take Scales out, because he was talking also in the press conference about the fact that Scales played 2 international games for the Republic of Ireland and he needs to be saved from himself in some because his ratio is not been quite 100% for availability, but it's probably 98, 99%. So having that horses for courses, not just up front but at the back as well, can only help the team going forward.
He loves Scales though, doesn't he?
He does.
He genuinely loves Scales and what he brings to the table. And Scales was also immense. He could have said it about both of them. They were both immense the other night. So, listen, he's going to bring Carter Vickers back because he wants to see what he's like. They didn't rush him against Atalanta. They gave him that extra time. So, obviously, one of the two of them is going to be put on the bench. I'm saying Trusty, you saying Scales, you might well do. I just don't see him drop.
I think you'll see Trusty and Carter Vickers for the first time on Sunday. I've got a funny feeling.
You could well do. That would be interesting.
I think the parallels are already there with Trusty and Starfelt, to be honest with you, because they both came in with that same sort of doubt. Not that Trusty's made the same glaring errors that Starfelt made when he joined. You've got to remember when Starfelt joined, he was under like a new defence completely for Trusty. It's all about he's covering for Carter Vickers because he's injured a lot. So 3 out of the 4, yes, Greg Taylor got an injury too, but 3 out of the 4 aren't changing in that backline. But I'm already starting to see the similarities, and it took Starfelt until a breakout game. I believe it was against Hearts at home for everybody to really be convinced of this player and what he could bring to the team. For Trusty, he's done it in a bigger scale at Atalanta, but usually it takes a breakout game, and I think that we'll see the best of Trusty from now on. Tony, is there anything else you want to talk about from the press conference, or have we covered everything newsworthy from it?
I think we've covered everything newsworthy. I've written a piece about the kind of whole thing going on the website tonight at 10:30. I knew everybody would leap onto the Arne Engels part of it, so I've deliberately let people have their say on that. I kind of stayed away from that, but it's kind of all-encompassing Europe and domesticity is in my
I changed the headline ever so slightly, Tony. I said from Northern Italy to North Lanarkshire, can Celtic avoid a European hangover this weekend? That's a very...
Yeah, I mean, that is the question, isn't it? And I think I do feel that whatever team selection he goes with, and I don't dispute your logic in any of those, or your thinking behind any of those suggestions that you made, that he might rest Scales and see what Trusty and Carter Vickers are like. Fine, it's the manager's call, isn't it? The good thing is that there's lots of selection. I wouldn't say it's a selection dilemma. You've got lots of selection choices there, and that's what you want, isn't it? Because you've also got Adamida and Kyogo. You will see you might give Adamida the run to get some kind of,
just rhythm in general, Tony, because he's been in and out of the squad.
So you want to get him some kind of continuity. Fair enough. And then obviously Hatate played quite well during the week, but we're talking about Bernardo and McCowan coming in to that midfield, and if they two come in, you've got to assume that the captain still plays. It would be Engels and Haddadi that would drop out. So it's it's a fine balancing act the manager has, but I'm sure he was well aware of everything. He's over everything, so I'm sure he was planning meticulously for these outcomes, and he will have had the Motherwell team in his head long before today when he was asked questions about it. He will have known. He might even have briefed the players who are playing in that game and told them, you'll get a cameo on Wednesday, or don't worry about Wednesday. You'll be in the team for Sunday. That's the way. I keep saying it. That's the way elite people work, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So he'll certainly, Brendan Rodgers will certainly know his team. We'll all find out about 1:45 on Sunday, won't we? 1:45. It's a 3:00 kickoff, isn't it?
1:45, yeah, we'll find out. We'll probably go live at 10:02 or 5:02, regardless, or just depending on if we can get the squad graphic. If there's not too many changes, I think there will be a couple of changes, so keep in mind for that. I'll need to remember not put Alex Bailly or Greg Taylor into the left back position, although he might come back at the weekend, and then I don't need to change it after all. That was a mistake I made in the pre-match that won't happen again. Thank you to everybody that's joined us on this special show that we were doing. Thank you for the 200 people that are watching us live. Thank you to the people who watched this after the live recording is over. Just a quick shout out. If you want to support our work a little bit more, you can join our YouTube members channel, £2.99 a month. You'll receive all the benefits such as early video access, priority comments, and members chat function exclusive to members. Guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the start of your weekend. Fingers crossed that Celtic can get the result on Sunday. Hopefully you can join us then for the pre and post match live from Fir Park. Until then, enjoy your Friday night, and we'll see you all on Sunday afternoon.